Hello everybody, it's Ed here from Metric Mogul, and I'm back to tell you about a little feature which I've implemented in Google Analytics to track how long someone is spending on your pages. Now, before you throw up your arms in despair and go, "Oh, Ed, rookie mistake, time on page, come on man, session duration, time on page." Yes, I know GA has session duration and time on page metrics, but the way they get calculated is flawed, and it's flawed for two reasons. First of all, if someone it doesn't track the last page of a session of someone coming to your site. So if someone lands on a page and then bounces, which they often do, on especially if you've got a high bounce rate, then the time on page metric is set to 0. Here's an example: time on page metric is 0. Now, how can 4 people spend 0 time looking at that page, right? So this is a bad metric. My page attention metric does 2 things. Firstly, it does track people who bounce, hence why you can see 14 minutes 15. Now, if I was doing some analysis and I go, well, this page is obviously shit because no one's looking at it, I'm going to delete it, or I won't write about that in the future. Whereas in actual fact, people spend 14 minutes, so it's actually the 3rd most popular page on my site. So that's one difference with my attention minutes metric. The second one is that it only tracks people when you're active. So if you put the browser tab into the background, or you go away from the computer and you're not moving your mouse, this time value is not increasing. Whereas the time on page metric that's in GA by default does increase by default. So that's why you might get some instances where, I'm just looking for example, here we go, time on page, GA says it's 4 minutes 17 seconds, whereas I say it's only 3 minutes 45 seconds. That's because probably some of these people had it in the background, so they weren't actually engaged, they weren't actually reading the content. So my metric's a bit more accurate, and this is very useful if you have a content site. If you've got blog articles, if you're a newspaper site, if you're a magazine and you want to know, are people actually reading my articles and how long for, this is a great way of doing it. All right, so enough about that. How does this work? How does this work? Okay, this is a bit complex, so I'm going to give you a high-level overview. First up, page attention, average page attention, and attention time are both custom metrics which I have created. In fact, correction, attention time is a custom metric and average page attention is a calculated metric. So let's just focus on attention time first. This is a custom metric created by me. So if I head into the admin section, you will see down here, custom definitions, custom metrics. Attention time is a time custom metric. There we go. So every time someone is on my site and they are moving their mouse and they are interacting with the page, I have a counter in a JavaScript script, which is counting up. When they stop moving, the counter stops. When they start moving again, the counter restarts. Every time the counter gets to a multiple of 5 seconds, I have instructed the JavaScript to send a message to Google Tag Manager to say, we've just had some activity, we've had a period of 5 seconds of activity. I then pick that up in GTM, and then I use it to send an event to Google Analytics, and that event is called an engagement ping. So to recap, every 5 seconds of movement on the site, I am sending an event called engagement ping to Google Analytics. Okay, so let me prove that to you. Let's have a look in inspect. Network. I'm going to filter for the word collect because everyone knows that is to do with Google Analytics. Hits go into GA. It's the server call. Here we go. I'm sorry about the background noise. It's my washing machine going mental. At least I'm clean. All right. So here we go. Let's make this a bit bigger. You can see here, event action is engagement ping. So these are my engagement pings going off every 5 seconds. And notice also that I've set the event label to 5. I've set the event value to 5. And critically, here's the key thing. CM3, custom metric 3, is set to the value of 5. What is custom metric 3? Well, I just showed you. It's the attention time metric in slot 3. So, essentially, every time an engagement ping event gets sent to Google Analytics, this metric gets increased by 5. And it's a time metric, so it's 5 seconds. Therefore, I know how long someone has been reading my page for, and that's how I get these numbers in here, right? Attention time. So this metric is just being calculated, and the average page attention is just the attention time divided by unique page views to give me an average. Okay, makes sense. All right. Now notice there aren't you would think there are engagement pings going off now. Well, not really, because I'm not actually reading the page. I'm over here. I'm on different tabs, whereas the Google Analytics time on page metric is counting up. You'll notice now, though, when I click back on this page and I start scrolling again, so I'm actually reading the page now, I'm focused on it, you'll see now that every 5 seconds we have another engagement ping. So I'm now up to 15 seconds worth of looking around, and notice now it has stopped again because I'm no longer focused on the page, I'm focused over here. All right, makes sense? So again, I'll just prove that. I'm going to do a bit more scrolling. And again, it's not just scrolling. Like if I'm sort of moving my mouse around and sort of reading stuff, then the attention metric will keep increasing. And notice another thing you notice: CM3 is always 5, so I don't send the total value. I've spent 30 seconds on this page of active movement, but I keep sending 5 because Google Analytics does the addition for you in the back end. Okay, so let me give you a bit more background on the sort of implementation of this if you want to do it. All right, first up, first things first, I have this this tag called Attention Analytics. When it loads, you will see that it's a JavaScript file which is hosted on Amazon S3, and it's essentially the thing that does the logic to work out if I'm moving my mouse, and if it does, it sends. I can't load it. Let's try and load it differently. Oops. There we go. All right, so that's the JavaScript. Obviously, it's all compressed, so it looks. I'm not going to expect you to read it, but it is there. And what that does is that every 5 seconds, it pushes something to the data layer. So I'll show you that. Let's preview my website again. Let's close this down. And refresh the page. Okay. So let's have a look at the data layer. So you can see here that every 5 seconds of movement, I'm pushing an event to the data layer called engagement ping. Now, don't confuse this event with the event that's going to Google Analytics. This event is simply being pushed into the data layer, and I can do whatever I want with it. Okay, it just gets pushed in. Again, I'm going to keep moving around, and we get more engagement pings being sent into the data layer. And just to prove that, I will go to the console, type in data layer, and see we've got loads of engagement ping events being sent through. And the main thing I want to pick up here is the value. So what I've got to do now is set up GTM so that whenever it sees this engagement ping event here in the data layer, it sends it on to Google Analytics. And that's what this tag does here. So, well, first of all, trigger. Let's look at the trigger first. My, G8 is slow today, GTM. TTM even. Oh, here we go. So this is a trigger. It says when the event name engagement ping is received, then trigger this stuff. Okay, makes sense. Okay, and then we have the attention ping tag, and this is the thing that sends the event to Google Analytics. So we have category engagement, action engagement ping. I'm picking up the total and the value from the data layer, and you can see the total and the value here, total value. And I'm also doing some other stuff there. But the key thing here is I'm also setting custom metric 3, CM3, to the ping value of 5. And that is what we were looking at when we were looking at the network. When we were seeing all these collects coming through. If it's going to do it now. Oh, it's not going to do it because I haven't refreshed the page. But there we go. There's the collects coming through in the engagement ping, and CM3 set to 5. So this is the tag that is doing that. And it's doing it when? Well, it's doing it when the engagement ping event is received. So that's it. That is how it works. You can triple check this by going to events, top events. Here's my engagement category. Here's my engagement ping action. And then here's the event label. So this is telling me how many seconds someone's been on. So every ping. So you can see there's a bit of a drop off there, as you'd expect. It's a bit hard to read as an event label because an event label is a string, not a number. So this is why I've created a custom metric, to auto increment the value for me. And then I create a custom report as such. I'll give you a quick view of it. So here's my attention time. That's my custom metric. That's my calculated metric, and these are the two GA ones for comparison. And there you go. And I can now see what my most popular article is by actual attention on it. You can do the same. You can break this metric down by anything. So I can see whether mobile page attention is 59, so it's very, very low. Whereas on desktops, people spend a lot of time. I can see which is the most popular channel or medium for people to come in from. Obviously, pages we've already discussed. And then campaigns. If I'm running any campaigns, I can see how they affect stuff. So that is it. I hope you've enjoyed that. The script for, I guess some of you might be wondering, well, how can I get my hands on the script? You can. I will put a link to the script in the description box, so you'll be able to set up GTM as I have. One thing to bear in mind is please don't hot link the script. Make sure you download it and host it on your own web server and include it on every page of your website. Because otherwise, when I take it down, your site, or not your site, but your attention minutes will stop working and you'll get JavaScript errors. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got a content site, I highly recommend you get attention minutes working. Now, I should actually point out before we go, the downside, obviously, is that you're going to get lots of events coming into the site. You're going to get, every 5 seconds, you're going to get a new site. So if you have a large site, just be aware that you're potentially going to get more sampling in GA because you're getting a lot more data coming in. And so that is a consideration. But you can extend the frequency from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. There's lots of ways around it, and I can help you with that if you need help. But yeah, if you're a large content site and you need help setting this up, then get in contact with me. You can find my contact details at metricmogul.co.uk. If you're a smaller site, then I can't really help you, I'm afraid, unless you've got a budget to help this be set up. All right, there we go. I hope you found it helpful.